Chair.
Good evening everyone and welcome to this South East Planning Committee meeting on Wednesday the 15th of November 2023. My name is Councillor Vanessa Bale and I'm the chairperson of this committee. Members, we believe we're streaming this meeting live as well as recording, fingers crossed, and by being present in the meeting you are giving your consent to being recorded. During each item, please put your hand up to indicate if you wish to speak, and I will then invite you at the appropriate time. Could I ask members to avoid approaching the top table, as this could create interference with the cameras and live stream. Good luck approaching. Please note that the YouTube live stream sound recording is dependent on the correct use of the microphones. Therefore, can I ask that when invited to speak, you speak into the microphone. We don't have to turn them on and off here. And members of the public, when I invite you to speak, I'm going to ask you to come speak into one of the microphones, please. So I will do that at the appropriate time. Good evening, Councillor Stamp. Please reference a page or paragraph number when referring to the agenda papers, and please keep your contributions as clear and concise as possible. Okay, item 2, apologies for absence. I believe we have none, Clerk, is that right?
That's correct, Chair. We haven't received any.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 3, minutes of the previous meeting, which was held on 20th of September 2023, and these can be found on pages 7 to 14. Members, I so move that these are approved. Do I have a seconder? Thank you. Councillor Neil. Does any member wish to raise a matter of accuracy? Councillor Hayward.
Yeah, item 261 is the reporting about the national finance one, that one is the as the taking place, which has been by the same
Okay, okay. Thank you. Can we record that, Clerk, somehow? Does that get amended?
Yeah, as long as it's agreed by everyone, we can put that in as...
Members agreed by yep, thank you. Okay, can we agree the minutes by assent, members, please? With that amendment. Super. Thank you very much. Declarations of interest, item 4. To disclose the existence and nature of any disclosable pecuniary interests, other registrable interests and non-registrable non-registrable interests relating to items of business on the agenda having regard to paragraph 9 and appendix B of the Code of Conduct for members. And members, I must remind you that you're also required to disclose any such interest as soon as they become aware should the need arise throughout the meeting. Members, any declarations of interest? Councillor Stone? Of course you can, Councillor. I think you just got here in time, so thank you, of course. No, thank you. Okay, so agenda item 5, we have 00155, which is an outline application. Land at Bellsgate, Malden Road, Latchington, CM3 6LF. And you can find this on pages 15 to 26. We have no members' update on this item, so I'll go straight to Mr. Lawrence. If you could present the report, please. Thank you.
Chair. This application site is the remains of a dwelling in its curtilage, and it's located on the eastern side of Malden Road, outside the settlement boundary of Latchington. The area to the north, east and south of the site is characterised by open agricultural fields. The area to the west across Malden Road is characterised by a range of dwelling types and a mix of commercial and industrial sites. I'd also comment that Hawthorne is to the southwest of the site. The planning history of the site is important that it has previously been approved by this committee to grant outline planning permission. That was granted on the 2nd of March 2020 under reference 19/01214/OUT. This permission lapsed in March of this year. So just for again, this is a slightly different view of the property. Here you can see there is development to the south of the site, and you have the open fields to the east of the site. As I said, this is an outline application. All matters are reserved. I would just add there is an existing access to the site. That is really an indicative plan of the dwelling that could go there. So just to give members some context of the site, this was previously, you can see that it was a chalet bungalow. I think it burnt down in the late 1990s. As you can see, there's not really much left of the building, but there is still the four walls are still standing, and there is a detached garage at the side of the property. This again is just showing the context. This is the property. Again, just go back to that. Go back to this slide. It's an aerial views. So you've got all four here. This is the B1018. Is the site, and it lies to the east, and you can see the open fields surrounding the site. So this is a view. This is the view looking from the junction with the 1018, looking to the north. And the lower side is the site is looking down to the south towards the road junction, which gives context to the site. I think that's the last slide. As I said previously, planning permission has been given an outline. That is a material consideration. The council has approved the consent for the rebuilding of the property. That, as I said, it is a material consideration, but it is entirely an outline. The only conditions there would be conditions which would restrict the height to 7 metres. That's because of the existing building. You can see there was a bungalow. There do appear to have been rooms in the roof, and there is also a condition that the eaves height should not exceed 3.5 metres, and the first floor accommodation shall only be located in the roof space. This application is recommended for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. So, yep, recommended for approval. So, which way round? Yes, Councillor Pittock.
I must admit, I'm very concerned about the application. The major problem I have is with respect to the east development house and for us to approve the application, the permit is such a significant amount. So I understand that the previous years the application was more favourable. But in reality, the situation of the property really isn't. It's clearly big. It would make all the tests of that recently with so that being the case, it's not a word, it's a fact. So I understand that an outcome is not previously, the application is not being treated, and therefore it reverts back to the particular conditions and that property. So that being the case, how will we find the benefits of our I do my work, and I must admit that's however, what we're really agreeing to take is not the application per se, but the fight for the application to build it, because there isn't open space, as I say, start planning open space. So the application is really requesting consideration of the open farm. The officer has sought to seek solace from policy as act among the exceptions that's true. And indeed it does say that under certain situations develop outside the second. But these additional to say agencies or quality parcels are really looking at applications that come forward that are not really possible to build within the second, such as Burnham Wall, where it's tested development. So, given the fact that it's impacted dwelling, then I really can't see how you want to do the support for that policy, because there is no dwelling there to replace in the first place. So, in terms of benefit. Obviously the benefit is that we kind of the end, but if we're going to be saying that whenever there's a private sale of the open field, or if we find land no such acceptable, to justify us that we think policy of saving is acceptable, then we'll be developing pretty much everything comes forward. But the harm that is done is it creates a precedent, a massive precedent for any development to come forward in that location, along that area of open farmland. And I just happen to notice that right next to it, in the corporate site, the proposal for claiming 55,000. Well, okay, I haven't got a problem with that. But if we're going to be that away from that development and to increase the size of villages, which is what everything is going to do, then these are things that should be considered as part of the local development. Not as individual applications that come through, but as a problem. So I'm sorry, I'm going to propose that we disagree with the and that we use the information.
Okay, do I have a seconder for Councillor Stamp and Councillor Bassinger? Councillor Stamp, thank you.
Can I?
Yes, please, Mr.
I think I'd
Lawrence.
just like to make a comment. Obviously, every application has to be treated on its own merits, and if permission were to be granted, it does not mean we would have to grant one if there were similar circumstances. Each application is looked at individually. What also we have to be aware of in terms of the consistency in decision making is that there has been an outline planning permission. It was granted by this committee, and that does weigh in favour of this application.
I mean, I don't disagree with the main decision in the past, and whether that's right or wrong, but what I will say is that the council is perfectly entitled to reassess this based on the issue which they accept. That might have to be with the time. Now, there are legitimate issues, because as a president is facing a multitude of challenges by developers in regard to sector, and whether or not they're actually trying to policy or set in the first place. Just exactly when we've got a bill and then primarily argument is that the council is constantly approving applications outside of certain countries. So why shouldn't it be in their case, given in their case to be fair to the development, there'll be significant benefits of building that number of houses. So it's really a matter of principle. You don't have to stick to the decision making. I would agree that if an application comes forward and be refused if it came back and we offered different reasons for refusal, that would be unuseful. But I really do think we're looking at policies in the disability district and as we do the plan district.
Thank you. Councillor Pratt, then Councillor Rayburn.
However, money is certainly right. Would be running in Old Creek, literally, Jasmine Cottage, which was 3 sticks and a piece of asbestos in the middle of the copse. The copse was cut down, the piece of asbestos was exposed. A lady of nearly 90 was brought to the inquiry, and she remembered as a young girl that she used to stay with her father on weekends, and it was proven it was a residence. And the one was cleared, cost us a lot of money. To balance things, yes, it is outside the area, but because we've already agreed 3 years ago that this was building development, I'm reluctant to go along with the refusal, because I feel on balance that this is a replacement for you. I mean, it's a very long time, probably the United States, it just screams that it just needs to be needed. I don't support it.
Thank you, Councillor Pratt. Councillor Rayburn.
I feel the same way. It's very obvious when you drive past this site that it has been a dwelling in the past, and I can see that it would absolutely no harm to rehab it to its original course. And I think the fact that some people have mentioned that it would possibly be in favour of a major development on the road next to it, I think that tends to weigh in our
Thank you. Councillor Stan. And then Councillor Fluke.
Thank you. I've got the original Southeast Area Planning Committee meeting, and it was 2019, and it was, this committee did go against its recommendation, but I'd just like to bring to everyone's attention, the reasons for the recommendation to use in 2019, and it wasn't just policy, so it was policies, development would therefore be unacceptable and contrary to policies S1, S8, D1 and H4 of the Malvern District Local Plan, and NPPF 2019. I'm going to support Councillor Pittock's recommendation to use this because we are setting a precedent, and I think it is a precedent, and we all know what's happened when we have an area has been put outside the settlement boundary. It doesn't just stop there with one house or two houses, it goes to 60, 70, 80, 90, how many houses, because a precedent has already been set. I don't see that this is a special, it is fulfilling the need that's been identified as a gap within our local development plan, i.e. specialist housing or affordable housing. This is just for a dwelling house. So based on that, I will be supporting Councillor Pittock.
Thank you, Councillor Stan. Councillor Fluke, please. I know, I used it only the other day, Councillor Fluke. Well, yeah, I would make and so you'd be happy to second. So let's take this one first. Does anyone else want to speak, or shall we take Councillor Fittock's proposal? So, all those in favour of refusing this and going against the officer's recommendations, please raise your hands. Councillor Bassinger, Councillor Fittock and Councillor Stamp. All those against? Okay, so that is not carried. So I shall then make the proposal that we accept the officer's recommendation to approve. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Fluke. So all those in favour, members? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, I think, can I count? And all those against? That's 3. So thank you. So members, that application is approved. Thank you. In line with the officer's recommendations. Thank you very much, members. So we now move on to agenda item 6, 00440, another outline permission for land north of Willow Grove, Malden Road, London, and you can find this on pages 27 to 44 of your pack. We have no members' update again in relation to this, so I will go straight to Lisa Greenwood, who is presenting remotely. Miss Greenwood.
Thank you, Chair. This is an outline application with all matters of detail reserved for future determination except for means of access for the erection of up to 2 dwellings. The site is located approximately 1.2 kilometres to the northwest of the settlement of
Sorry,
Blackpool.
could you slow down a wee bit, Miss Greenwood? Could you slow down a little bit, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
This is an outline application with all matters of detail reserved for future determination except for means of access for the erection of up to 2 dwellings. The site is located approximately 1.2 kilometres to the northwest of the settlement of Latchington and approximately 1 kilometre to the southwest of the settlement of Munden. The site is outside of a defined settlement boundary and is an open countryside. The site is neighboured to the north and northeast by an employment use Plantech Limited. This is a production firm that serves the horticultural industry. To the south is Willow Grove, a residential dwelling. The site is surrounded on all remaining sides by open countryside and the character at the site is rural. There is no existing access. There is also no footway to connect the site to the settlements of Latchington or Munden. There is also no street lighting at this section of the highway, and the speed limit here is the national speed limit of 60 miles per hour as it is unlit. Members' attention is drawn to the fact that planning permission was refused for the erection of 2 detached dwellings with integral garages, new access driveway and garden outbuildings. This was a full application. The application was refused for 6 reasons. Notably, the site's outside of a settlement boundary and safe access cannot be provided to the nearby settlements, and future occupants would be heavily reliant on the car. The proposed design would cause harm to the intrinsic character and beauty of the open countryside. The proposal was not supported by an up-to-date ecological survey, and insufficient information had been provided on how to secure a net gain in biodiversity. The application was not supported by a satisfactory unilateral undertaking, would therefore have an adverse impact on European designated sites. It was also not supported by a tree survey. Members should also be made aware that the applicant has appealed the decision of Waltham District Council, and this appeal is still live. The Council is not yet in receipt of the Inspector's decision and is not yet aware as to the position the Inspector will take with regards to the reasons of refusal, most notably the location and suitability of the site for residential development, which also applies to this application. Objections to this scheme were also received from residents in the neighbouring dwelling and the commercial use Plantech. Returning back to the proposal subject of this presentation, as part of this application, a new access and a footway are proposed. The footway is outside of the red line boundary and proposes to link the site to a bus stop to the northwest. The applicant has suggested this could be imposed with a ground clearing condition. However, as the application has been found to be unacceptable in other regards, this has not been pursued. Here are some photographs of the site. That's the front of the site, the neighbouring use, and that's looking from the site towards the bus stop. It is not considered that the proposal, although outlined, has overcome the previous reasons for concern regarding the accessibility of the site, design and impact on recreational disturbance. While some of the technical issues have been addressed, for example, up-to-date tree reports have been submitted, the site remains located outside of a defined settlement boundary and safe access cannot be provided for pedestrians and cyclists to the nearby settlements. Future occupants will be highly reliant on the car. Further, Latchington and Munden are smaller villages and do not provide the level of employment facilities and services required for day-to-day living. The proposal would also cause an incongruous form of development that's out of keeping with the countryside. Insufficient information has also been submitted with regards to the Essex Coast Recreation Disturbance Avoidance and Mitigation Strategy, and the necessary financial contributions have not been secured. With regard to noise, whilst the technical objection has not been received from the Council's Environmental Health Officer, owing to the site's close location to Plantech Limited, future occupiers may be exposed to noise and other nuisances which would be very difficult to control, and it may well be that the firm has an agent of change defence against such complaints. the reasons outlined, the application is therefore recommended for refusal. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Ms Greenwood. Mr Lewis, do you have anything to add?
No.
Okay, lovely. So we do have some public participants. So first of all, I will invite Julia Osborne to speak. Please, if you could approach the microphone. Thank you. Thank you, Ms Osborne. You have 2 minutes, so whenever you're ready, we'll
I'll just
set the
get
timer.
clear everything again.
Bear with. Okay, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Similar to Desire Joseph Willow Grove property, which will be most adversely impacted by this proposal, we've been justified in continuing to object to the application, which is outside the proposed local development plan, in an area which provides vital green space between villages and action and development. Our concerns include the loss of habitat to a considerable number of bird, reptile and amphibian species, such as crayfish, which is irregularly sea property. It's an already very busy road which will become more hazardous for the proposed development. Vehicles accelerate out of the 40 limit around the somewhat blind bend and we've dealt with the accidents. Also, lorries operating in the next door car pack factory 24/7 are not without impacts in already dangerous road conditions. Despite it adversely affecting our view, we see the proposed new fencing is essential, but we have no guarantee this will be maintained into the future. And regardless of whether the specific pond identified in the application includes an area of the pond, or if the pond area is noted in the application as being separately fenced, the owners of the proposed building own a section of the pond at the front of the proposed site for which we are majority owners. If planning is granted, it leaves us uncertain what happens to that section of the pond when housing is sold. Building on the proposed project affects our security for our pond as well as our in the pond throughout all phases of the development. We are very concerned about the disturbance factor of having such close neighbours and the possible objections to our current smallholding activities, including often heavy noisy machinery, a flock of sheep and chickens and coffins. For all of the above reasons, as well as our previous witness statements, we continue to object to the development and would like to thank the planning committee for the chance to address this meeting.
Thank you very much. Well in time. Thank you. Okay, if I can now invite Helen Taylor, who is a supporter, to speak, please. Oh, sorry, we've got 3 speakers on this one, Councillor Stan. Okay, just hold on a sec. Okay, so 2 minutes whenever you're ready.
Okay. I'm using my 2 minutes to respond to the first proposed reason for refusal, namely the presumption that future occupants would be heavily reliant on using a car. This is not correct. I've lived in Latchington for 47 years. My parents moved into Willow Grove in 1980 and quickly became active in the local community on Carrick County in WI, and when they moved, they gifted this piece of land to us. My mobility is becoming more restricted and my days of easy walking and driving may not last much longer. However, I do not believe that reliance on a car would be inevitable in this location. There is an excellent bus service which goes past the door, which would give me access to Latchington and Burnham, or Malden, Chelmsford and beyond. I could safely walk to the nearby bus stops, particularly if the proposed footpath were built. Instead of driving, I'd avoid congestion and parking problems. I'd feel safe, and for me, the bus is free. It's a means of transport of considerable importance here. Even if there were to be a usable footpath to Latchington, I would not be able to use it safely. I find it hard to walk there comfortably. The paths are narrow and often overgrown. And in any case, the frequency of the buses means I'll probably be overtaking one by walking. My current property is only accessible by steps, and following the unexpected death of my husband last year, I'm now looking for more suitable accommodation. Ideally, a house where I can live on one level where my children could visit and stay. I'm also aware that such a move would free up a much-needed 3-bedroom family house on an estate opposite the local primary school. I've lived in Matchington a long time, and the traffic now is busy, noisy, unpleasant and full of lorries. The traffic on the Burnham Road, however, remains unchanged and the road is quieter, which would suit me.
That's
Time.
it.
Yes.
Spot on. Thank you very much. Well done. Okay, thank you very much. And finally, unless the applicant, Mr. Bishop, please. So, whenever you're ready.
I'd like to address the second proposed reason for refusal. Our proposal is an efficient use of an overgrown and neglected waste site. The NPPF says planning decisions should promote and support development of underutilised land like this, especially where this document identified needs for housing, which this does. Regarding the character and context, the dominant feature is the large plant pack factory sitting in the middle of this continuous linear mixed group of buildings. It's an active location with no intrinsic beauty. The factory footprint extends continuously behind our plot and overlaps the back of Willow Road, and our site is already surrounded by existing built form. Our proposal will not extend this route down the site. It does not introduce built form into the open countryside, which lies beyond Willow Road and beyond the factory, and which will remain unaffected. We have carefully considered the context by citing the building footprint well back in line with Willow Road, near the well screened by existing tall trees and hedgerows which typify the local character and which will remain. The access will match Willow Road. The proposed public footpath is an obvious complement to the highway and would sit unobtrusively within the verge that is proposed. The planners have refused to discuss this and even stated it's part of the reason for refusal, despite approval from highways. Our proposal will be entirely in keeping with the local character in the context of its surroundings, compatible with its neighbours, and not at all incongruous in this setting. There are no objections from any expert statutory concept fee. Final design, detailed design will of course be agreed at reserved matters, and there will still be a visual gap of over 40 metres between our building and the factory, with large conifers and other trees, hedgerows and open green space. No evidence of any harm has been presented to the council by the council, and the officer actually states in their appeal statement twice that overall any harm caused would not outweigh the benefits of the proposed scheme. We believe that these are all good reasons to approve this application. Thank you.
Spot on time again. Thank you very much, Mr. Bishop. Thank you. I'm going to have to say, so you called it in, Councillor Fluker. I don't believe you've moved house, have you? It's, Rams, yeah. Miss Greenwood, did you catch that?
I think so. So with regards to RAMS, I don't believe we've received any additional information. So I don't believe that that reason for refusal would be overcome. With regards to the footpath, that would obviously be a matter for highways as well to be involved with. And with regards to the appeal statement, the appeal is still live, so we don't yet know the position, but our position remains that the benefits would not outweigh the harm. So, as you're all aware, we have a 5-year housing on our supply. This site is outside of the settlement boundary. It is likely that owing to the pond and the access, you you might be able to get a dwelling on there, but the contribution of that one dwelling would be nominal. And having visited that road, and again today myself, it is a busy road, and there are better locations within the district for that dwelling. So I think the benefits would definitely not outweigh the harm in this instance.
So, Chairman, I'm sorry, it's very important. That's the opposite. We prefer to have space. Several officers
Are you able to do that?
Sorry, I can't hear you very well.
Sorry, it's some sound issues. If you could speak up, Councillor Fleetwood.
What I'm saying is I'd like to see the council to review this site. It's clearly said something contrary to you. And what I actually submission response from the issue is a big tendency to support what I said. And I think it's critical to determine this.
I would have to go through the appeal statement, but I don't have that in front of me. I don't believe that the council would state that.
I don't.
Mr Lawrence.
I've not. I don't have it. I mean, I can access the file.
It's downloaded from Mortgage Council website. It's a public document. And I think it's absolutely important to understand what that says. Generally, that's unusual, but this isn't a save a lot of time. But I made it absolutely clear that the officer is in a disadvantage position because
No.
unfortunately it does back up. That's my point.
I could have. We could defer it. Equally well, we could adjourn it.
Adjourn it.
I'd have a look at the paper.
Members, are you happy to adjourn briefly or shall we defer?
Chairman, I don't see why. The appeal's gone in, and Malvern Council made that decision to word that appeal. We're not here to debate and talk about the appeal. We're here to hear this application. And obviously I'll be guided by the rest of the members. If you want to defer it, then that's absolutely fine.
I'm going to go to Mr Lawrence.
I mean, obviously, we have to determine the application that's before us this evening. Yes, there is what's said in the appeal, but you have to concentrate on the application. It's recommended for refusal. There's been a clear report by the officer. You have to determine it on what's before you now.
Thank you. I'm going to make, sorry, yes, Lisa, you have your hand up, thank you.
I have the letter in front of me, and it says the benefits are considered to be negligible. Overall, and taking into account the points made within the appellant statement, the inspector is respectfully requested to dismiss the appeal, notwithstanding the issues contained in the letter, and then there are conditions suggested. I would say that Mr Lawrence, the matter before us is this application.
Yes.
And this appeal is live. You know, as Councillor Stamp has just said.
Yeah. No, thank you. I'm friendly to dismiss that, Councillor Fluker, and I'm going to go with what we have in front of us. So, any other members like to comment? Thank you, Ms Greenwood. Yes, Councillor Fluker.
I think it is some very little area in the application. There obviously are some benefits of building
we have to sort of remember that the principle of the local development is very clear. Basically, they're not going to be, they're not coming in. And that really includes settlement ground. The settlement ground is there for a reason. They're there to protect development outside of the local development land in locations that have not been considered. If you still want to localise the settlement ground, you could very well do so. Now, the harm is caused not necessarily by the impact of the development, but will be part from the local government. Every time we do so, and again I repeat what I said before, we are just being pushed around by developers and actively saying that our local development should be designed for that. And that we're constantly doing development outside the settlement. So it's very difficult because there are often very good reasons why people don't do it, but at the end of the day, we have to apply the policies that are, and the harm is the case of policy, not necessarily in the when we talk about sustainability, we are talking about sort of getting the right on that property, not for an individual. So, I think we have to sort of bear in mind the harm isn't so much the individual alone, it's the harm that the property and strengthen the property and the spirit of that government.
Thank you, Councillor Fittick. Any other members? Mr. Lawrence.
If I can just
Of course.
reinforce what Councillor Fittick has said, obviously the time, if we are to change the boundaries, that is for a review of the local plan. We've now had legal opinion that we do have a 6.35 years housing land supply, therefore our plan is not out of date, it complies with the NPPF, therefore the settlement boundaries are, shall I say, that now they are back in, they are part of the local plan.
Thank you. Nobody else? I'll go back to you, Councillor Green.
Chairman, I hear what you're saying. I presume this means the in this comes down, I accept the sentiment, but one has to understand the distribution of the world. So when we look at the economist forward, China, the market is ending forward, and the city will be there is a nuclear But going speaking to the sustainability issues, I'm sure members will application 21, which was basically on this code in London, there is no shop, there's petrol stations, rates. There's no objections to this, there was no objections to the countryside, because that's about further and of course generally just objection to the appeal which is very close to this, there's still two kilometres there, and generally again, no questions for this one. There is no questions. Basically, so generally, I think looking at this, and I think also, I'm very looking towards the market conditions, and to see that they can use it. So they have any objections to the building itself. General Six actually, I
what's going to be built on this site. But generally, contrary to the officer's recommendation.
I sense a proposal coming on.
Well, I don't know about the but, generally, honestly, I think you have to be very careful because I've worked with building this space quite frequently. And this is obviously when we looked at the needs of the users and things being local reversed by these things within the and one has to look at the rate. This needs to move through all of these things should be open and this is legal. I cannot see the harm. This is so I think given what is external circumstances, we propose the coach towards this recommendation.
Thank you. Do you, is there a seconder for that? Yep, Councillor Ray. Okay. Anyone else like to speak on this? Yes, Councillor Fittock again.
I would like to
briefly.
speak on the much of the that was very I mean, so I think that's sustainability. It's not really developed because any big sustainability. It's really about where the local development and this is I mean, the people the application could people like but that was right based upon the fact that there was really running debt. It's not on the basis that it's really going to be built. So, I mean, what we think is about precedence, I mean, if we keep doing the same thing, and that's building outside, etc., then again, all our studies that will constantly keep develop with respect to the validity, regardless of whether the local development is that, because we are the ones that decide who is less value to it.
Thank you very much. Yes, Councillor Hayward, then Councillor Stone. Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that.
I know it's slightly different, obviously, as you listened to the speech that was proposed, this is related to why do we need two houses there? Because it's a big way I'm living it, but they're putting two houses in.
Thank you. Councillor Stone.
Yeah, can we go back? Did anybody propose a different proposal for the office recommendation? I mean, have we just got council?
No, yeah, we've just got that, and then we take that.
Propose that we go to the officer's recommendation and we refuse it in my second. It would be done first, but I'll
Yeah,
say.
yours, yeah, Councillor Flukas. Councillor Fluker. Let's go to first of all Councillor Fluker's proposal.
Generally, would be normal installations
Thank you. Let's go to the vote though. So those in favour of the proposal to approve, which is against the officer recommendations, please raise your hands. Councillor Fluker, Councillor Label. All those recorded. Can we minute that, please, that Councillor Fluker and Councillor Labour, well, object to it, thank you. And so those against? So that proposal falls. So then we have Councillor Stamp's proposal that we refuse in line with the officer recommendations. So members, all those in favour, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, 8. And all those against. And that's 2. So we are refusing in line with the officer recommendations. Thank you, members. So that brings us on to agenda item 7, which is on pages 45 to 56. Again, no members update on this. So I will move straight to, if you're still awake and on point, Ms. Bradley, please, if you could present your report. I do believe Mr. Lawrence.
Yes.
Right, thank you. Thank you and good evening, members. This is a reserved matters application for the approval of layout, appearance, landscaping and scale following the approval of outline planning permission for the redevelopment of the poultry farm for approximately 5,000 square metres of employment space. Now, outline planning permission was granted in October 2020 for the development, which approved the principle of the development. So the use of the site for commercial use and the access has already been approved. In terms of the application site, it's located to the south of Maple Chase in London. Maple Chase serves, actually, just go back to the other one. Maybe it shows it better. Maple Chase runs along the northern boundary of the site, and it serves a number of properties including residential dwellings and open storage use and the Essex Pet Crematorium. The site's accessed through Mapledene Industrial Estate from Malden Road, and that serves a number of commercial units and also residential properties. The details of access, as I said, were agreed, and the site is outside of any settlement boundary. Moving on to site plan, thank you. So this is the site plan that's being submitted with the outline, with the reserved matters application. And the proposed development is for 5 buildings on the site of varying sizes. They're all the same height, 6 metres to the ridge and 4.5 metres to the eaves, but they are different in terms of footprint, and they're arranged as shown on the site plan. Not very easy to see though, but the grey shows the buildings on that plan. Unit 1 is to the north of the axis as you go in, 15 to 18 on the southern part of the axis, with the other buildings around the edge of the site. So the overall footprint of the building is just under 5,000 square metres, so that's acceptable in terms of the outline planning application. 138 spaces, car parking spaces are proposed on the site, and there's 19 disabled spaces, and provision for cycle parking has also been shown here. While we're still on that plan, Derek, it's considered that the development would be acceptable in terms of the car parking provision, as the car parking is in accordance with the council's vehicle parking standard SPD. You'll see there is a condition recommended requiring EV charging points, and that's in the recommendation. Right, moving on. Thank you. I'll just quickly rattle through these plans because the buildings all look very similar. They're a fairly functional design with dual pitch roofs and elevations in half brick with metal cladding above. As you'll see as we flip through, the design is very similar. If you could just move on to the floor plan and then the roof plan, and then for the other units I've just combined those just to give a quick view. Keep running through here to get to the landscaping plan. Just shows fairly uniform design and a fairly functional design for the purpose really. It's considered that the layout of the development and the appearance of the buildings is consistent with that of the surrounding area, so there's no objection in that regard. Landscaping is another reserved matter. Hard and soft landscaping scheme is been submitted for approval, and we've got the details of the parking scheme as well. There is a large area of tarmac on the site to accommodate the parking and turning of vehicles, which is really standard for this type of development. However, there is soft landscaping proposed within the car parking around the perimeters of the site to try and soften the buildings. If you just go on here, actually through the photographs here in terms of the location. So that's Lakewood and Chase. We've got the existing poultry buildings on the right-hand side there, and that's just within the site, the existing buildings. That's at the top, Lakewood and Chase, looking back into the site, and again, same sort of view looking back down Lakewood and Chase. Thank you. So just coming to the summary, it is considered through the Outline Planning Commission that we've granted the principle and the access. It's considered that there aren't any impacts on neighbouring properties in terms of odour, noise, visual impacts, and a lot of those were agreed previously. So the application is recommended for approval subject to condition.
Thank you very much. Members, over to you. Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm looking at your name on my. So we have the applicant, Alice Cole, please. And we will get the timer ready. So whenever you're ready.
Good evening. This planning application seeks to agree the reserved matters following the outline planning commission in 2020 for the redevelopment of the poultry farm, providing commercial units and associated access. This commission agreed the principle of commercial development here. The matters now submitted include layout, scale, appearance and landscaping. The layout proposed involves 5 separate buildings which differ in size, but they are separated by access and turning areas, car parking and also areas of landscaping. In terms of appearance and scale, the development would provide just under 5,000 square metres of floor space within 5 pitched-roof buildings, and this accords with the outline planning commission. The maximum ridge height proposed is 6 metres and eaves height of 4.5 metres. A comprehensive landscaping scheme has been submitted which includes 30 trees, areas of native hedge planting and native and ornamental shrubs. Wildflower meadow planting and grass birch areas are also included in the scheme, and many of these plants have been selected as they are beneficial to wildlife. Car parking is shown on the landscape plan and meets the council standards. This development will be of benefit to the rural economy in providing employment opportunities for local people and bring associated economic benefits to existing local businesses. The reserved matters submitted are in accordance with the provisions of the Outline Planning Commission and with the Council's adopted policies as set out in the case officer's report, and members are requested to approve the application subject to conditions as recommended.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. I believe Councillor Stamp.
Thank you. Can I just ask for some more information on what has led to the officers who have recommended approval when you've got holding objections from Essex County Council regarding subs and the ecology consultant? Can I just actually ask what led you to believe, to recommend that it's absolutely acceptable in planning terms, that you think that's overcome when you've actually got those? Because they are statutory consultees, and I've been told many times over the years, and I'm looking at this here, you should not necessarily go against statutory consultees. So thank you. You could just understand that.
We do usually say exactly that, so this one's a little bit different. Because we've granted outline planning commission that was subject to a number of conditions, some of them included things like subs, and there's another condition including ecology. Now both of those conditions are pre-commencement conditions, which means that the details have to be submitted prior to any development commencement and be approved. In this case, it's slightly different because the reserved matters application doesn't require or trigger those details to be submitted with it. So we've got an objection from the local flood authorities saying that they want more details. However, there is a separate condition in the outline planning commission deals specifically with that. We've got the same with the ecologist, where there's the holding objection, wanting some more information. And again, we've got the pre-commencement condition requiring those details to be submitted. So that's why in this case it's slightly different. So we're not ignoring them. Those details are still absolutely vital and could result in a different scheme being required. For example, if ecology came back and saying mitigation measures needed a completely different layout, for example, then we'd have to come back in terms of reserved matters as well. But that's why in this case we aren't ignoring them or anything like that. We're saying they will be dealt with at a different time.
So can I
Yes, of course.
So
Please.
based on that then, so if these conditions aren't good, applied, or whatever the proper word is to manipulate, then the application would be withheld with it, and it wouldn't go forward until the conditions were met. So it is a stipulation that it cannot go ahead until all these conditions
They
are
are
met.
pre-commencement.
That's right.
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah.
Councillor Fluker. It's that time of night, Councillor Fluker.
On a more serious note, the red line of this site, I've got council action, police, and somebody that agree with me. I would just say that I'm a customer of cars, which is General, I was very happy about it, I must admit. I think the photographs, the actual photographs that we have seen, actually does the sound justice, because it really does. General, it's interesting that the officer in the previous presentation, when he said there were very many employment opportunities in that, but there are on this site, and what this does is it actually builds a very nice employment area, and personally, I think this committee is should get a new bit of that brings forward things that are concerned. This one's got outline chain. Yeah, I think it's as pretty as you can make it.
Wow, we've been here before, I think, with certain applications, haven't we?
So I was supposed to the support officer's recommendation to approve this.
Is that seconded?
Yeah.
I think members are falling over themselves to agree with that. So can we agree that by assent, members? Yeah, agreed. Super. Thank you. So that is approved in line with officer recommendations. Excellent. Thank you very much. So that brings us on to agenda item 8. Any other items of business that the chair considers urgent? I have none. So members, at 20:33, I close this meeting. Thank you all.